The twilight of a battered world painted long shadows across broken relics of a war once believed to be over. A solitary figure moved with measured resolve along fractured pathways, the remnants of a shattered civilization whispering ancient memories into the cool night air. Every step carried the weight of a past marked by loss and sacrifice, yet the eyes, sharp and determined, reflected a defiant spark of hope. A heartbeat of the past lingered in the silence, a reminder of a time when humanity's ingenuity had triumphed against insurmountable odds. In the heart of the abandoned metropolis, where towering ruins reached skyward like silent sentinels, the figure paused before a wall adorned with faded murals depicting heroic deeds. Each stroke of color told stories of valor, betrayal, and the unyielding spirit that had once united a fractured people. In that quiet moment, the remnants of old glory merged with the present struggle, stirring a mixture of pride and sorrow deep within. A deep inner dialogue wove through thoughts as the figure recalled the dreams of peace, a promise that the war had ended, that the ravages of conflict were behind. Yet the unmistakable hum of distant machinery and whispers of unrest in the wind reminded the traveler that promises are fragile. They said it was over, came a soft, reflective murmur that echoed the unspoken grief of generations, but the echoes persist. The words were barely audible, yet they resonated like a secret pledge between the past and the future. Along the neglected avenues, fragments of futuristic technology lay strewn about, evidence of both human brilliance and its capacity for destruction. Once these devices had bridged the gap between dreams and reality, propelling society into an age of wonders. Now they served as silent testimonies to the cost of progress. The figure's hand brushed over a cold metallic surface embedded with circuits that had once pulsed with life. A fleeting spark of recollection ignited. A time when technology was a beacon of hope rather than a harbinger of despair. The air carried an undercurrent of tension, subtle yet inescapable, as if the very fabric of existence trembled with the possibility of renewed conflict. Amid the rubble, whispers of a hidden threat began to surface, a murmur of an anomaly that defied explanation, a sign that the scars of war were not yet healed. Each step forward was a silent challenge to the notion of a bygone era, an assertion that the promise of peace might be a prelude to further trials. In a small gathering near a flickering source of light, a band of survivors exchanged hushed words, their voices laced with both trepidation and determination. One voice, strong yet tempered by years of hardship, broke the silence. We must not forget who we are. The war did not end because of fate, but because we chose to forge a future out of chaos. The words were an invocation of resilience, a call to remember the power of unity even in the face of impending darkness. In that moment, the figure felt an inner stirring, a convergence of resolve and uncertainty, as if the echoes of the past were urging a decisive stand. A quiet resolve set in, merging with a turbulent storm of memories. The figure recalled nights, spent poring over ancient documents and deciphering cryptic messages left by those who had once dared to dream. The memories were as much a burden as they were a source of strength, a dual reminder that survival required not only physical endurance, but also the courage to confront the moral ambiguities of the choices made in desperate times. We have the capacity to rebuild, came the thought, echoing like a mantra. Yet we must also confront the shadows of our past to truly move forward. The remnants of civilization, though broken, pulsed with an unspoken promise, a promise that every loss had seeded the potential for rebirth. Amid the debris, the figure encountered a relic of personal significance, a battered journal with pages yellowed by time and ink faded by memory. In its fragile leaves lay the confessions and dreams of a mentor long gone, whose words had once lit the path forward in the darkest hours. The reading stirred a bittersweet cocktail of nostalgia and urgency, reaffirming that even in solitude, the legacy of shared struggles was an indomitable force. A sudden shift in the wind carried with it an unfamiliar scent, a blend of ozone and distant exotic spices, and a subtle vibration underfoot hinted at something stirring beyond the familiar decay. The figure's pulse quickened, mind racing with possibilities. Is it merely the whisper of a new beginning or a harbinger of yet another storm? The thought clung to the air, weaving through the quiet determination that had so far defined every measured step. As the night deepened, the interplay between hope and trepidation sharpened. The figure's internal monologue became a dialogue with the past, each memory a stepping stone toward an uncertain future. The profound solitude of the moment was interrupted only by the soft murmur of distant voices, merging with the figure's introspection. In that merging, there was an unmistakable understanding. The struggle was far from over, and the challenge was not merely to survive, but to redefine what it meant to live in a world where every promise of peace might conceal the seeds of rebellion. In a final, resolute gesture, the figure pressed onward, guided by an unwavering belief in the strength of humanity, a belief that every trial, every betrayal, and every moment of despair could be transformed into a testament to the human spirit. The world around, though scarred by the ravages of war, resonated with the potential of rebirth. And so, with the silent promise of yesterday fueling the courage of today, the figure moved forward into the uncertain embrace of a night that was as much a beginning as it was an end. The journey had already begun, a journey woven with threads of trust, betrayal, hope, and the relentless pursuit of meaning in a universe that had once vowed peace but now whispered of a war yet to end. Every footstep, every whispered memory, and every echo of a long-forgotten promise was a declaration that the human spirit, with all its imperfections and brilliance, was ready to face the unknown once again. A sudden tremor in the familiar rhythm of recovery stirred a ripple of disbelief and apprehension. An unexplained vibration surged through the air, as if the very fabric of a society desperate to forget its violent past trembled at the edge of another upheaval. The heartbeat of existence, once slowly synchronizing with the promise of lasting peace, now pounded with a chaotic urgency that demanded immediate attention. A murmured warning sliced through the uneasy silence. "This isn't just another malfunction," came a measured yet urgent whisper, carrying the weight of a soul accustomed to loss and the hope of redemption. A glimmer of defiance sparked in eyes that had long witnessed the ashes of battles past. In that singular moment, the anticipation of danger fused with the raw determination to confront the unknown. The unexpected presence of a dormant enemy, reawakened with subtle yet unmistakable signals, beckoned with a tantalizing mixture of terror and possibility. Amid flickering devices and half-forgotten relics of technological marvels, a cryptic message pulsed from a long, silent terminal. "Incoming transmission detected," it declared in a voice that echoed both mechanical coldness and a trace of longing. The words resonated as an invitation to a confrontation that promised no easy answers. The figure, marked by scars of previous wars and the relentless pursuit of understanding, stepped into the uncertain light of this new challenge. Internal voices clashed in a quiet battle of instinct versus reason. Memories of past promises and betrayals surged forward, a reminder that even in moments of desperate hope, trust was a fragile commodity, easily shattered by forces beyond control. "Do we dare trust what we cannot see?" a thought whispered, its tone both accusatory and pleading, entwining with the pulse of the unknown. An encounter unfolded, unexpected and enigmatic, as an entity emerged from the shadows of a disrupted network. A voice both human and distinctly other broke the tension with a measured cadence that suggested an age-old understanding of the cost of survival. "We have seen your struggle, and we know the price of peace." The communication resonated, its timbre layered with hints of sorrow and determination. The message, laden with cryptic assurances and veiled warnings, challenged every preconception held about allies and adversaries alike. A ripple of disbelief swept through the gathered remnants of humanity's fragile coalition. The notion of trust wavered on the precipice of betrayal. A heated exchange of ideas and fears surged beneath the surface of calm exteriors, as the question of allegiance morphed into a battle of wills. "How can we believe in salvation when our own past is stained with failure?" came an echo of doubt. Reverberating in the hearts of those who had weathered the storm of conflict, the tension thickened, a palpable current of uncertainty that promised to reshape every alliance and every secret kept beneath the veneer of order. In the midst of this charged communion, the figure recalled the countless nights spent poring over forbidden texts and half-whispered rumors, a time when the boundaries between friend and foe blurred into obscurity. There was no room for simple answers now, only the stark reality of survival, with its unyielding demand for adaptation and sacrifice. Our ingenuity was our salvation once. The thought pulsed with conviction, merging with the pulse of an unfathomable, new threat. The inherent duality of creation and destruction converged in that moment, painting a portrait of a future where every decision was a gamble against oblivion. The transmission intensify this revelation. Their voices, though soft and tentative at first, grew into a resolute chorus that defied the bleak prospects of uncertainty. We will not be defined by our past, a conviction surged, an unspoken vow that echoed with every shared heartbeat. Our ingenuity and our courage will light the way through the darkest night. Each syllable was a declaration of purpose, a reminder that even in the midst of overwhelming doubt, humanity's resilience could kindle the spark of a revolution. The promise of a future reshaped by struggle and forged in the crucible of moral ambiguity beckoned with both beauty and terror. The encounter, a convergence of disparate worlds and ideas, left an indelible mark, a reminder that every new beginning was born from the ashes of what had once been. In the silent communion of hope and desperation, a quiet determination took root, unwavering in the face of potential betrayal. The figure, emboldened by the conviction of countless souls who had come before, embraced the unknown with a heart that had learned the price of trust. And so, as the pulse of the ancient transmission faded into a lingering echo, the promise of a new chapter beckoned with an intensity that defied the darkness. The figure stood at the crossroads of fate and free will, ready to step into the uncharted realm of possibilities. The haunting question of whether trust would lead to salvation or betrayal hung in the air like a specter, a challenge that demanded to be met with unyielding resolve. We move forward together, into the abyss and beyond, whispered the silent oath, a declaration that even in the face of relentless uncertainty, humanity would rise to redefine its destiny. A restless undercurrent pulsed beneath the remnants, a fragile calm as the conflict deepened, unraveling the tenuous threads of hope with each passing heartbeat. A surge of determination, mingled with a profound dread of what lay ahead, propelled those bound by shared scars into a maelstrom of uncertainty and revelation. The air vibrated with a dissonant symphony of clashing ideologies and splintered loyalties, each note echoing the raw intensity of lives already steeped in loss and ambition. A gauntlet of obstacles emerged from the shadows, a labyrinth of betrayals and hidden agendas that threatened to fracture the collective will. A murmur of discontent rose from within the hearts of those who had once found solace in unity. Our past deceits haunt us still, came a voice laden with both regret and resolve, a reminder that trust was a luxury earned only through the crucible of relentless struggle. In that stirring declaration, the inevitability of human fallibility and the potential for redemption intertwined in a delicate, volatile dance. The relentless tide of betrayal crashed into the sanctum of newfound alliances. Familiar faces, once beacons of solidarity, revealed fissures of ambition and desperation. A whispered confession, half-truth, half-lament, spoke of secret pacts forged in the dead of night, promises made in desperation that now threatened to upend a hard-fought equilibrium. The cost of survival is etched in every unspoken lie, resonated as an incantation of both warning and sorrow, as the weight of past transgressions bore down upon each weary soul. This confession, unadorned by sentiment yet searing in its candor, unfurled a tapestry of hidden motives that blurred the lines between friend and foe. In the crucible of rising chaos, the air was thick with both tension and possibility. The embers of defiance, nurtured by the resolve to reclaim what was lost, sparked debates that roiled like a tempest in the collective consciousness. A tempered exchange emerged, voices intertwined in a struggle to decipher the labyrinth of loyalty and ambition. What price must we pay for a future unburdened by the ghosts of betrayal? A thought echoed, pregnant with the weight of countless sacrifices and the unyielding desire to rise above the carnage. The question, stark and unrelenting, served as both a challenge and a beacon, guiding those adrift in a sea of moral ambiguity toward a choice that could alter the course of destiny. Amid the tempest of conflicting aspirations, the indomitable spirit of ingenuity stirred beneath the surface. Memories of triumph against overwhelming odds, of battles waged with both valor and despair, surged forth like a rallying cry. In the depths of introspection, a silent vow took shape, a commitment to harness the very essence of humanity's resilience. In the face of a betrayal that threatened to unravel the fragile tapestry of existence, we forged our destiny from the ruins of despair once, pulsed an inner affirmation, its cadence merging with the fervor of a legacy born of both ingenuity and sacrifice. In that resolve lay the blueprint for a future that defied the chains of past mistakes, a future shaped by the fierce determination to redefine trust and rebuild what had been shattered. A convergence of minds, intensified, its cadence growing more insistent as the digital pulse of an ancient AI intermingled with the human yearning for clarity. A whispered plea intermingled with calculated logic, a call to arms that bore the signature of both salvation and damnation. Embrace the unknown, for within its chaos lies the blueprint for our rebirth, the message urged, an invitation wrapped in layers of enigma and possibility. The command resonated as both an affirmation of humanity's relentless capacity for reinvention and a stark reminder that every alliance came with its own cost. A heated internal debate erupted, the voice of reason clashing with the instincts honed in the crucible of previous conflicts. A memory of betrayal, an ally who had once turned with the tide of shifting loyalties, served as a cautionary tale that gnawed at the edges of resolve. Do not let hope blind you to the treachery that lurks beneath every promise, the recollection murmured, its tone steeped in regret and warning. The merging of past wounds with the present challenge transformed the encounter into a crucible for trust and suspicion, where every word carried the potential for salvation or ruin. Amid this maelstrom of thoughts, the figure's heart surged with a defiant determination. Every fiber of being resonated with the conviction that, regardless of the unknown terrors ahead, humanity's spirit could not be so easily quenched. A silent oath crystallized, a vow that the pursuit of truth and survival was a right, not a concession. We have endured worse than this, the inner resolve declared, a subtle yet unyielding force that urged action. The fire of ingenuity, forged in the crucible of despair and nurtured by the relentless drive to rebuild, burned brighter than the darkness threatening to consume all hope. A declaration of unity emerged from the uncertainty, a call to arms that sought to bind the fractured remnants of a once proud legacy. Together we can decipher the mystery of this transmission and reclaim our destiny, came a chorus of voices, each note an echo of resilience and shared struggle. The resolve to confront the unknown was not born of naive optimism, but of a battle-hardened understanding that every challenge carried with it the seeds of transformation. Every whispered word and every tentative hope was a step toward a future where the promise of peace was not a mere illusion, but a hard-won reality. The air trembled, with the dual promise of betrayal and salvation, as the encounter escalated into a silent negotiation with fate. A hesitant yet determined accord emerged, a fragile alliance between those who sought answers and the enigmatic presence that reached out from the depths of technological memory. The mutual recognition of the cost of ignorance and the value of trust imbued the moment with an electrifying urgency. We stand on the edge of a precipice, and only our collective courage can keep us from falling, the message conveyed, its resonance as clear as the ringing of a final bell before an irrevocable decision. Internal voices mingled with the mechanical pulse of an ancient network, and in that convergence lay the promise of a future that was as uncertain as it was inevitable. The silent resolve to forge ahead, to trust in the shared scars of humanity's turbulent past, and to embrace the moral complexity of the challenge, drove the figure forward. The clash of ideas and the intermingling of hope with trepidation coalesced into a single, unyielding determination to face the threat head-on. "Let the unknown reveal its secrets and let us shape the destiny that awaits," echoed a sentiment as fierce as it was fragile, a mantra that bound together the disparate strands of doubt and determination. A final, suspense-laden silence descended, a pause before the storm, pregnant with the weight of countless choices yet to be made. Every heartbeat echoed the gravity of the moment, as if time itself had slowed to honor the significance of the encounter. The figure, poised at the threshold of a decision that could redefine the course of a civilization, drew upon the deepest reserves of courage. In that frozen moment, the balance between trust and betrayal, between hope and despair, wavered like a delicate scale awaiting the decisive push of destiny. The transmission's final words lingered in the charged air, an enigmatic promise that defied the simplicity of victory or defeat. "The future belongs to those who dare to rewrite the rules of destiny," the message intoned, a challenge and an invitation all at once. This declaration, both ominous and inspiring, resonated with the eternal truth that survival was not the absence of fear but the triumph over it. The figure's mind swirled with the weight of possibility, the tantalizing allure of forging a new path amidst the ruins of old certainties. A ripple of determination spread outward, igniting the dormant spirits of comrades and allies who had gathered in the fragile wake of this revelate, and hearts sparked a fierce debate, a collision of visions that painted the contours of a revolution yet to be fully understood. Amid the maelstrom, a measured voice emerged from the throng, a clarion call tempered by the scars of previous betrayals and the fierce yearning for a semblance of order. "We must confront the treachery that festers within our ranks, or risk surrendering our future to the specter of our own misdeeds." The declaration resonated, its force drawing every wary soul into its orbit. The message, both a plea and a command, underscored the inherent risk of complacency, urging those present to cast aside the allure of unchallenged trust and to scrutinize every promise with the keen eye of experience. As the debate intensified, the tangible presence of an unseen enemy loomed ever larger, a specter of destruction that defied conventional understanding. The relentless hum of technology, once a source of hope and progress, now pulsed with a foreboding cadence, as if imbued with the dark intent of forces unknown. A cryptic signal, interwoven with the static of ancient transmissions, served as a harbinger of impending calamity. "It speaks of a force that has evolved beyond our reckoning," a voice intoned, its tone a fragile blend of wonder and terror. The transmission, enigmatic and laden with a promise of both revelation and ruin, deepened the chasm of uncertainty, challenging every preconception about the nature of the threat. In the midst of the storm, the figure at the heart of this unfolding conflict felt the weight of every decision as if etched into the very fabric of existence. A silent meditation unfolded, a collision of memories, regrets, and a burning desire to reclaim agency in a world teetering on the brink of chaos. The recollection of past victories and the bitter taste of betrayal fused into a singular impetus, a call to arms that transcended the physical boundaries of battle. "Our ingenuity must now be our shield and our sword," the inner resolve declared, a fierce mantra that elevated the spirit above the mire of doubt. This internal litany, echoing through the corridors of a mind steeped in both sorrow and hope, served as a bulwark against the encroaching darkness. The relentless progression of events, marked by an intricate interplay of hope and despair, steered the collective consciousness toward an unforeseen turning point. A revelation, sudden and electrifying, shattered the prevailing inertia, a glimpse into the hidden machinations that had manipulated the course of events. In a moment of searing clarity, the true architect of the betrayal was unveiled, a presence that had lurked in the periphery, guiding the hands of fate with an inscrutable logic that defied human comprehension. "The enemy is not external but a manifestation of our own fractured resolve," resonated a chilling realization, one that pierced through the veil of assumed certainties and forced every heart to confront the possibility that the true battle was waged within. This unmasking of internal treachery unleashed a torrent of emotions, a maelstrom of rage, regret, and a desperate yearning for redemption. The revelation, stark and uncompromising, rippled through the assembly like a shockwave, upending long-held alliances and casting doubt upon every whispered promise of loyalty. The air grew thick with the scent of imminent retribution as those who had long trusted in the promise of unity now found themselves ensnared in a web of deceit. We are our own worst adversaries, the stark truth reverberated, a haunting refrain that underscored the bitter irony of a collective soul divided by ambition and betrayal. In the wake of this seismic shift, the once fragmented voices coalesced into a unified call for action, a defiant stand against the encroaching shadows of self-destruction. The figure, embodying the essence of indomitable resolve, rose to the challenge with a determination that transcended the boundaries of mortal frailty. Every heartbeat surged with the conviction that, in the crucible of rising conflict, the true measure of humanity lay not in the absence of error, but in the relentless pursuit of redemption and unity. We must harness the fragments of our past, transform our wounds into wisdom, and forge a future that embraces both the light and the dark within. The silent vow echoed, a promise imbued with the weight of collective experience and the fervor of unyielding hope. Amid the turbulent interplay of voices and emotions, the figure's inner dialogue took on a crystalline clarity, a beacon of resolve in a sea of uncertainty. Memories of past triumphs mingled with the bitter sting of betrayal, each recollection a testament to the resilience that had defined every chapter of this long, arduous journey. Our capacity for reinvention is boundless, pulsed the inner conviction, its rhythm a steady drumbeat that defied the cacophony of dissent. This mantra of reinvention, born of hardship and tempered by experience, underscored the belief that even in the throes of internal strife, the spark of ingenuity could ignite a renaissance of hope. The relentless cadence of conflict surged forward with an almost palpable intensity, its every moment a crucible of moral dilemmas and existential choices. The struggle was no longer confined to the external battleground but had seeped into the very core of identity, a contest of wills and a confrontation with the fundamental nature of trust. Each decision, each sacrifice, molds us into beings capable of transcending the limitations of our past, a thought resounded, carrying with it the promise of transformation even in the face of the harshest betrayal. The gravity of this realization, woven through with both terror and the possibility of rebirth, lent an almost sacred urgency to the unfolding events. In a pulse of determination that cut through the encroaching darkness, a collective resolve emerged, a silent pact forged in the shared recognition of the stakes at hand. The figure, now more than ever the embodiment of humanity's fierce spirit, led this chorus of dissent and hope with a clarity that transcended the chaos. Our struggle is not in vain, for in every fracture lies the potential for renewal. Reverberated, the unspoken command, a beacon that illuminated the path forward even as the ground beneath trembled with uncertainty. This declaration, both a rallying cry and a solemn reminder of past missteps, kindled a fierce energy that bound every soul present in an unyielding embrace of shared purpose. As the crescendo of conflict reached its apex, the delicate balance between hope and despair wavered on the brink of transformation. A sudden, electrifying moment of clarity shattered the oppressive uncertainty, a revelation that both unveiled the true depths of the betrayal and charted a course toward the possibility of redemption. In that fleeting instant, every hidden motive, every whispered doubt, and every act of defiance coalesced into a singular, immutable truth. The war within was as devastating as any external force. We must confront the darkness inside if we are to emerge into the light of a new dawn, resonated the unified conviction, a final, resounding edict that encapsulated the dual nature of their struggle. The impact of that revelation rippled outward, setting into motion a chain of events that promised to redefine the very essence of their existence. Every voice, every thought was drawn into a vortex of change, a maelstrom that promised both retribution and the elusive hope of absolution. In the charged silence that followed, the figure's determination crystallized into a tangible force, a promise that the rising conflict would be met with the full measure of humanity's ingenuity and resolve. We rise not as victims of our own making, but as architects of a destiny reclaimed from the ashes of betrayal, echoed the silent vow, its resonance as deep and enduring as the scars etched upon their collective soul. The swirling tides of conflict, heavy with the dual burdens of internal treachery and the specter of an ever-evolving enemy, propelled the journey forward with relentless momentum. Every heartbeat, every whispered memory of past glories and failures, served as a reminder that in the crucible of rising conflict lay the seeds of both destruction and rebirth. The figure's eyes, reflecting the tumult of a soul at war with itself, shone with the fierce clarity of purpose, a beacon that promised to guide every step along a path laden with both peril and the possibility of salvation. Our ingenuity and our capacity for transformation are our greatest weapons, pulsed an inner mantra, a defiant testament to the enduring spirit that had weathered every storm before. In the depths of this inner tumult, where the line between friend and foe had blurred into an indistinguishable haze, the promise of a future unbound by the mistakes of the past began to take shape. The collective consciousness, marred by betrayal yet alight with the brilliance of unyielding hope, found solace in the recognition that every challenge bore the potential for metamorphosis. Let our struggles be the forge in which a new legacy is cast, the silent edict echoed, a fervent reminder that from the crucible of conflict emerged the heroes of tomorrow, sculpted not by the absence of darkness, but by the relentless pursuit of light amidst it. The rising tide of conflict, now a swirling vortex of emotional intensity and raw determination, carried with it the promise of a reckoning, a moment when every decision, every act of defiance, would be etched into the annals of a future reborn. The figure, with a spirit as unyielding as the rock against which the waves crashed, embraced the challenge with an unwavering resolve. In this crucible of betrayal and hope, we will forge a destiny that transcends the boundaries of our past, pulsed the inner declaration, a luminous beacon against the gathering storm, and so as the echoes of betrayal mingled with the roar of emerging hope, the relentless march toward an uncertain future continued unabated. Every heart, every mind was drawn into the collective pursuit of redemption, a journey that promised not only the reawakening of dormant strengths, but also the painful, necessary reckoning with the shadows within. In that charged moment, the rising conflict became a crucible for the human spirit, a testament to the indomitable will to overcome, to rebuild, and to rise anew from the remnants of a fractured past. The path forward, fraught with peril and illuminated by the raw brilliance of unyielding hope, beckoned with the promise of transformation. We have endured the darkness long enough, resounded a final unspoken vow, a promise that in the face of betrayal and the encroaching unknown, the spirit of humanity would rise, ever defiant, ever resolute. With each step taken in defiance of despair, the figure and their companions etched the first lines of a new chapter, one where the rising conflict was not the end, but the fertile ground from which a future defined by resilience, ingenuity, and an unwavering commitment to the light would emerge. In that vast, uncharted expanse of possibility, the battle for the soul of a fractured civilization was only just beginning, each moment pregnant with the promise of both retribution and rebirth, and every heartbeat a testament to the relentless, awe-inspiring ingenuity of a people determined to reclaim their destiny. A surge of fated inevitability coursed through the veins of existence as the turning point emerged with blinding clarity. The culmination of simmering tensions and unspoken fears converged in a singular moment that transcended the realm of ordinary consequence. A towering presence of purpose rose from the chaos, a silent beacon that illuminated the path toward an ultimate reckoning, a relentless force, honed by years of loss and forged in the fires of despair, advanced with an unyielding determination. Every heartbeat pulsed with the raw intensity of lives reborn from the ashes of past betrayals. The figure, now etched with the scars of countless battles, stood at the crossroads of destiny, where the fate of not just a single life, but of an entire civilization, hung precariously in the balance. In that charged moment, internal voices merged into a singular roar of conviction. a reminder that every sacrifice had led to this defining confrontation. The hidden enemy, once obscured by layers of deception and veiled intent, revealed itself with an audacity that defied expectation. A presence that had lurked in the periphery of trust now stepped into the full glare of revelation, its true nature as multifaceted as the moral quandaries that had plagued its adversaries. The enemy's form was not merely an external threat, but an embodiment of every internal fracture, the embodiment of betrayal, fear, and the insidious corruption that had seeped into the very core of existence. In this moment, the distinction between ally and adversary blurred into a singular tapestry of human frailty and extraordinary resilience. A deep, resonant declaration pulsed within the figure's core, a solemn vow forged in the crucible of prior defeats and the triumph of ingenuity. The memory of every lost comrade, every promise made in whispered hope during the darkest nights, converged into a steadfast mantra that the human spirit was indomitable, even in the face of insurmountable darkness. The conviction was palpable, a silent proclamation that the time for tentative steps had passed, replaced now by the need for decisive, albeit morally ambiguous action. As the confrontation unfolded, the air trembled with the raw power of conflicting wills. A charged current of determination coursed through every fiber of being, igniting a fervor that transformed the immediate surroundings into a living battleground of ideals and destinies. In the midst of this maelstrom, internal monologues interwove, with the unspoken words of resolve, a shared understanding that every decision in the upcoming clash was not merely about survival, but about defining the very essence of humanity's future. No longer shall the weight of past misdeeds dictate the future. The collective inner cry resonated, a clarion call echoing against the void. Every step toward the enemy was measured with a mix of dread and defiance. The figure's mind raced. Through the litany of past misgivings and triumphant recoveries, each memory a building block in the edifice of resolve. The dark, almost tangible presence of the adversary bore witness to every sacrifice made in pursuit of a higher purpose, and now in this moment of reckoning, the scales of fate were poised to tip. The air itself vibrated with a haunting melody, a symphony of both loss and the promise of redemption, drawing forth the courage buried beneath layers of trepidation. In the charged silence that preceded the ultimate clash, the figure felt the full weight of 1,000 unspoken regrets and the shimmering potential of untold hope. A murmur, soft yet resolute, echoed from the collective heart of those who had gathered, a whispered pledge that even the darkest betrayals could be transcended by the unbreakable bond of shared struggle. The tension reached a crescendo as the enemy's inscrutable gaze met that of the figure, a silent exchange laden with the gravity of lifetimes and the expectation of imminent sacrifice. Every soul present, bound by the same indomitable spirit, sensed that the forthcoming battle was not merely a collision of forces, but the final arbiter of what it meant to be truly alive. The confrontation erupted with the force of destiny unleashed. In an instant that defied time, the figure surged forward, a living embodiment of human ingenuity and the will to survive. The moment of impact was both physical and metaphysical, as the clash of ideologies manifested in a spectacular collision of light and darkness. The enemy's form, now unmasked and raw, revealed the intricate interplay of betrayal and ambition that had orchestrated years of subterfuge. Its eyes, shimmering with an unsettling mixture of human-like emotion and alien detachment, bore into the soul of the figure, with a challenge as ancient as conflict itself. A fierce interplay of strategy and instinct ensued, a battle not merely of might but of ideas, of ethics, and of the relentless pursuit of meaning in a universe where every victory carried the weight of loss. The figure's every movement was a calculated expression of both defiance and grace, each action a testament to the unyielding spirit that had carried humanity through epochs of uncertainty. In the midst of this spectacular confrontation, thoughts collided with actions, and the internal dialogue became a powerful narrative of survival. Every calculated strike was laced with the fervor of a life determined to rise above the cycle of destruction and despair. Within the vortex of battle, an unexpected shift took root. a moment when the enemy's own defenses faltered, revealing an inner vulnerability that had long been masked by the relentless facade of power. The realization struck with the force of revelation. The enemy, with all its inscrutable cunning, was not an abstract embodiment of malice, but a mirror reflecting the darker aspects of human ambition and folly. This revelation stirred a cascade of emotions, a blend of pity, determination, and the stark recognition that the struggle was as much about healing internal wounds as it was about vanquishing a formidable foe. A decisive maneuver emerged from the interplay of light and shadow, bold, almost reckless gambit that fused risk with the hope of transformation. The figure, drawing upon every ounce of ingenuity and the distilled wisdom of past battles, initiated a move that defied conventional strategy. In that split second, the line between salvation and damnation blurred into insignificance, replaced by a singular focus on the possibility of transcending the cyclic nature of conflict. The action, swift and imbued with the urgency of irrevocable choice, ignited a chain reaction that rippled through the very fabric of the unfolding confrontation. The enemy recoiled, its facade of unassailable power cracking under the relentless pressure of truth and resolve. A palpable silence descended amidst the tumult, a brief suspended interval in which the weight of the moment was felt by every conscious being present. It was in this charged pause that the figure's inner voice roared with renewed clarity, a declaration that the battle was not solely for survival, but for the reclamation of an identity marred by decades of compromise and betrayal. "This is our reckoning," resounded a quiet yet insistent proclamation, as if the very air acknowledged that the tides of fate were shifting irreversibly. Every heart, every mind was now attuned to the delicate interplay of hope and peril. The figure pressed forward, each step an act of defiance against the inexorable pull of darkness. The enemy, its defenses weakened by the revelation of its own internal fractures, faltered under the relentless onslaught of human determination. The clash reached a fevered pitch, a swirling dance of light, steel, and unyielding conviction that set the stage for the final act of this monumental confrontation. In the midst of the battle, a moment of transcendent clarity emerged, a brief interlude where the distinction between triumph and loss evaporated into a singular, unifying purpose. Every conflict, every scar born from previous betrayals, converged into a singular truth: that the essence of humanity was not defined by its failures, but by its relentless drive to rise from the abyss. The figure's resolve crystallized into a luminous beacon that dispelled the encroaching shadows, casting a glow of hope that transcended the darkness of doubt. Every ounce of courage, every trace of ingenuity, coalesced into an an act of defiance that promised not just survival, but the possibility of rebirth. The enemy, now visibly transformed by the impact of this unyielding force, staggered under the weight of its own internal collapse. A tremor of vulnerability passed through its form, a fleeting yet undeniable sign that even the most formidable adversaries could be undone by the sheer force of human will. In that critical moment, the figure's inner dialogue resonated with an unwavering certainty. The time for tentative steps had ended, and the path forward demanded an embrace of risk, sacrifice, and the unshakable belief in the possibility of renewal. A brilliant, almost blinding flash of light erupted from the core of the conflict, a metaphoric sunrise that signaled both an end and a beginning. The intensity of the moment transcended the mere physicality of battle, searing itself into the collective memory as a testament to the transformative power of confrontation. It was a moment when the boundaries between enemy and ally, between hope and despair, dissolved into a singular, all-encompassing clarity. The figure, bathed in that transcendent glow, sensed that the struggle had reached its zenith, a climax where every bitter tear, every hard-won victory, and every whispered promise of a better tomorrow converged into a singular, immutable truth. In the wake of this overwhelming surge of clarity, the enemy's remaining vestiges crumbled, its internal deceptions laid bare before the unyielding force of truth and human resilience. The final echoes of the confrontation reverberated through the silent aftermath, a stillness that was both a eulogy for what had been lost and an anthem for what was yet to come. The figure, standing as the embodiment of humanity's unbreakable spirit, surveyed the remnants of a conflict that had redefined the very essence of existence. Every heart present carried the weight of a profound, transformative truth, that even in the darkest crucible of betrayal and despair, the capacity for redemption burned with an intensity that could not be extinguished. A solemn resolve took hold. In that fragile moment of peace, a promise that the lessons of the confrontation, with all their moral complexities and painful revelations, would serve as the foundation for a future forged in the light of hard-won wisdom. The figure's gaze, steadfast and unyielding, bore the silent assurance that the battle, however cataclysmic, was not an end, but a transformative passage. Every scar, every tear, every whisper of betrayal had coalesced into the raw material of a new beginning, a future where the human spirit, tempered by adversity and refined by sacrifice, would continue to illuminate the path toward redemption. In the charged silence that followed the final clash, the figure's inner voice resonated. With a quiet, resolute determination, "This moment defines us," it murmured, a declaration that the struggle in all its harrowing complexity was a testament to the enduring power of hope. The luminous glow of victory was tempered by the bittersweet taste of sacrifice, yet within that delicate balance lay the promise of rebirth. Every heartbeat, every fading echo of conflict, affirmed that the relentless ingenuity of the human spirit could overcome even the darkest betrayals. And so, as the final vestiges of the enemy faded into the annals of memory, the figure stepped forward into the uncertain dawn. The weight of the past, once a chain of regret and sorrow, now transformed into the catalyst for a future defined by both resilience and the unyielding drive to embrace the unknown. In that transformative moment, the climax of the conflict was not a definitive end, but an open invitation, a call to forge a destiny that celebrated the triumphs and mourned the losses of a journey steeped in both glory and pain. The luminous promise of that new dawn, radiant with the echoes of hard-won truth, beckoned with the silent assurance of possibility. The figure, now an enduring symbol of unyielding determination, carried the legacy of the battle, a legacy that would inspire future generations to confront their own inner demons and to rise unbowed against the relentless tides of fate. In the sacred interplay of sacrifice and rebirth, the final crescendo of the confrontation was etched into the heart of history, a testament to the transformative power of the human spirit when faced with the insurmountable, a triumphant declaration that even the deepest wounds could give rise to the brilliant light of renewal. A heavy silence settled over the battered remnants of a once volatile existence, a silence that spoke louder than any clamor of victory. In the wake of the fateful confrontation, the figure moved with deliberate steadiness, a measured cadence that betrayed both exhaustion and an unyielding hope. Every step resonated with the echoes of countless sacrifices, a testament to the battles fought and the dreams that had been both shattered and reborn. The atmosphere, now imbued with the tender aftermath of destruction, bore the weight of a transformation that transcended the mere cessation of conflict. A reflective calm permeated the hearts of those who had withstood the maelstrom, each soul quietly reckoning with the cost of survival and the delicate promise of renewal. Memories of clashing wills and piercing revelations mingled with the soft glow of dawn's promise, illuminating the scars etched into the collective consciousness. In that measured stillness, the figure's inner voice resonated with both sorrow and resolve, a whispered reminder that every wound, however deep, harbored the possibility of healing. "The price we paid is etched in every heartbeat," a thought murmured, both an elegy and a vow to honor the legacy of what had been lost. The remnants of the enemy lay scattered like fading echoes of a nightmare, their defeat a bittersweet triumph. Yet amid the ruins, the seeds of a fragile rebirth took root, a future fashioned from the dual threads of pain and perseverance. The figure's gaze swept over the silent witnesses of their struggle, each battered remnant and scarred monument, a silent testament to humanity's unyielding spirit. In that quiet moment, a gentle determination stirred, a realization that the end of one chapter naturally heralded the beginning of another. From these ashes a new hope shall rise, pulsed an inner conviction, an unspoken promise that the sacrifices of the past would fuel the dreams of tomorrow. Across the scattered survivors, an unspoken communion took shape, a collective understanding that the journey toward redemption was only just beginning. The air, still resonant with the fading reverberations of conflict, now vibrated with cautious optimism. Every heart, having tasted both the bitterness of betrayal and the fervor of unity, felt the stirring of possibilities long buried beneath despair. A quiet murmur of unity, laden with the raw authenticity of lived experience, wove through the minds of those present, affirming that the bonds forged in the crucible of battle could indeed heal the deepest of rifts. "We are no longer defined solely by our scars," the sentiment echoed, a resolute commitment that transcended the despair of past days and embraced the promise of a future reclaimed from adversity. In the solitude that followed, reflections of what had transpired rippled through the figure's thoughts like soft, inexorable waves. The cost of every decision, the burden of every betrayal, and the brilliance of every act of courage converged in a silent meditation, a poignant reckoning with the paradox of existence. The figure recalled the faces of comrades lost, each memory a delicate balance between mourning and gratitude. In the quiet interplay of remembrance and resolve, there emerged a subtle yet profound clarity. The journey of survival demanded more than mere endurance. It required an honest confrontation with the legacy of choices made in the shadows of fear and hope alike. The remnants of the once sundered alliances now gathered in fragile clusters, their collective presence a beacon against the darkness of isolation. A gentle, almost imperceptible dialogue of hope and introspection passed between those who had once been adversaries and allies alike, a silent acknowledgement that the path forward was as treacherous as it was promising. The figure, embodying the enduring strength of human spirit, became a living testament to the transformative power of adversity. A quiet declaration resonated internally. Let our struggles be the architects of a future defined not by defeat, but by the promise of resilience and rebirth. This internal vow, tender yet resolute, carried with it the weight of lived experience and the luminous potential of collective renewal. Amid the lingering twilight of conflict's end, the landscape of existence began to transform, a subtle shift that spoke of both healing and the uncharted potential of what lay ahead. The scars of battle, once symbols of an all-consuming war, now became markers on the road to reinvention. Each fractured remnant, each whispered memory of hardship was reinterpreted as a cornerstone upon which to rebuild a world that had once teetered on the brink of oblivion. The figure, with eyes unclouded by regret and a heart buoyed by newfound clarity, perceived the fragile beauty of a future still unfolding. Every ending is but the first step toward a new beginning, the thought affirmed, a serene beacon guiding the collective toward horizons yet unseen. In this measured aftermath, the interplay of light and shadow revealed not a world defined by the ravages of war, but one imbued with the tender promise of recovery. The weight of history, with all its sorrow and sacrifice, merged with the gentle cadence of hope, a quiet, persistent reminder that even the deepest wounds could give rise to the most luminous transformations. A collective resolve took shape in the minds of those who remained, a vow that the legacy of struggle would serve as both caution and inspiration. Let the memory of our trials be the foundation upon which we build a legacy of compassion and strength, reverberated the silent commitment that connected every scar, every tear, and every resilient heartbeat. As the final vestiges of conflict receded into a reflective calm, the figure stepped forward with an unwavering determination. A deliberate stride that acknowledged both the harsh truths of the past and the radiant possibilities of tomorrow. The journey toward healing was intricate and unhurried, marked by small acts of kindness, shared stories of loss and hope, and the quiet determination to rebuild what had been broken. In that intimate communion of hearts and minds, the fragile seed of a new dawn began to unfurl, a promise that even amidst lingering shadows, the light of human ingenuity and compassion could prevail. In the enduring silence that followed, the air held an almost sacred quality, a suspended breath in which every heartbeat in unison, affirming that from the depths of despair could emerge a world renewed by resilience and compassion. The figure's inner voice, gentle yet resolute, echoed with the timeless truth that survival was not an end but an evolving journey of redemption. We have weathered the storm, and now we shall sow the seeds of a tomorrow that honors every sacrifice. Resonated a final, tender vow, a promise carried on the winds of change and the unwavering pulse of humanity. Thus, the legacy of the battle, with all its painful complexity and transcendent hope, became the cornerstone of a future defined by renewal. The quiet aftermath was not a conclusion but a delicate interlude, a moment of reflective pause before the next stirring of destiny. In that interstice, every soul present embraced the promise of rebirth, a subtle, luminous affirmation that, even in the darkest hours, the enduring light of the human spirit would always guide the way toward a better tomorrow. A hushed stillness enveloped the remnants of a battleground that had long since echoed with the clamor of strife, and now a quiet promise of future possibilities whispered through the silence. In the soft glow of an uncertain dawn, a solitary figure moved with a measured resolve that transcended the trials of the past. Every step was imbued with the weight of remembered sacrifices and the latent hope of a future yet to be written, a future where the scars of yesterday might one day transform into the architecture of renewal. Within the reflective calm, the figure's thoughts intertwined with the echoes of battles fought and ideals tested, their internal monologue a steady cadence of recollection and quiet yearning. A realization emerged like the first light of day. The end of conflict was not a cessation but rather the opening stanza of a new chapter. The memory of shattered alliances and bittersweet victories danced with the promise of unforeseen horizons, and an unspoken vow settled in the depths of resolve, a promise that even the most profound losses could pave the way for unimagined triumphs. The lingering presence of both hope and uncertainty filled the air. As the figure surveyed the vast expanse of possibility that lay ahead, there was an undeniable gravity in the moment, a pause that transcended mere respite, hinting at a resurgence of destiny waiting on the horizon. A subtle vibration of energy, almost imperceptible at first, began to ripple through the stillness. It carried the faint promise of mysteries yet unraveled, of challenges that would demand the unyielding spirit to rise once more. The figure sensed that beneath the placid surface of this new era, the embers of potential conflict and transformative change still smoldered, waiting to ignite a future that was both awe-inspiring and fraught with moral complexity. An inner dialogue surged, a quiet conversation with the legacy of every decision etched into memory. The lessons of past betrayals and the enduring brilliance of human resilience coalesced into a singular conviction that every ending was but a precursor to a rebirth, an opportunity to redefine what it meant to be human in an ever-changing cosmos. This conviction was tempered by the understanding that the shadows of doubt and the specter of uncertainty could never be wholly banished. They were part of the tapestry of existence, woven into the fabric of every hope and every fear. As the figure continued along an unseen path, the quiet murmur of distant voices, echoes of those who had once fought and dreamed, merged with the pulse of a world poised on the brink of transformation. In that ephemeral pause, the future beckoned, with a cryptic allure, suggesting that the journey was far from over. It was a subtle invitation to embrace the unknown, to confront the lingering enigmas of technology, betrayal, and the relentless drive for survival. The horizon shimmered with the promise of new challenges, each one an opportunity to cast aside the weight of past sorrows, and to forge a legacy defined by unwavering hope. In this reflective interlude, the figure's silent pledge resonated like a timeless mantra, that from the depths of despair, the radiant light of possibility would forever endure. The promise of tomorrow, wrapped in mystery and daring the brave to dream anew, lingered in the air, a final evocative whisper that heralded the beginning of another remarkable journey.